Day one class taken from your manual, page 127. We will do some positive affirmations. Woo. I am going to be just randomly pulling cards from Louise Hay's Power Thought Cards deck. This is probably my favorite deck of cards. They're really colorful and pretty, and the quotes aren't too out there. You know, sometimes it seems a little hard to believe some of these positive affirmations. These ones are, I think, more in line with reality and level-headed. Okay, we will start supine. So let's go ahead and lie down on our mats. Getting comfortable, whatever comfortable means to each of us today. So traditionally in our yoga classes, when we lie supine, we are taking our feet at least as wide as the mat, letting our toes turn open. We can take arms alongside the body, maybe tucking our shoulders under the back and lengthening out the back of the neck. If this is not comfortable, what could we do instead? We could place hands on belly to be more in tune with our breathing. Often it's more comfortable to plant the feet and have the knees point upward. We call this constructive rest. Really, as long as we can be resting and have our minds focused on our breath, we are in good shape. Taking a moment here, turning inward, tuning in, seeing how we're feeling. Scanning the body head to toe, noticing any areas of the body that are maybe a little cranky or uncomfortable. And if it's within reach, placing a hand on that body part as a mental note. And if it's not within reach, mentally directing our energy to that body part, sending caring thoughts and reminding ourselves we can modify, we can rest, or we can work. Letting go of any need for competition, judgment, or expectation. Giving our bodies the practice that we need today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, the practice we need in this, the present moment. And then let's set an intention for our practice today. So you may already have something on your mind that you are sticking to as your intention. Otherwise, maybe we can think about a situation or a goal that we're working on. And then put it in a positive, simple sentence, usually in the present tense. So maybe your intention is to learn a lot this weekend. The intention, simple sentence that we're going to say is, I am a sponge for information. We feel it, we believe it, we repeat the sentence to ourselves, and then no attachments, we just let it go. So pick your situation, set an intention in a simple sentence that's positive, picture it, feel it, let it go. And for today, we'll be using our Ujjayi breath as an alternative to our three-part breath. It's really our three-part breath extra strength. So still with every inhale, filling our lungs from the bottom to top, feeling movements of belly, ribs, and chest. With our exhale, releasing. But then we'll add our ocean sound, as it's sometimes called. It's also called resistance breathing. So we relax the outer neck muscles and gently tighten or constrict the inner throat muscles to create a little bit of resistance for the breath so that we make just enough sound that you can hear your breath, but the person next to you can't really. It's kind of a gentle wheezing sound. Sometimes it's called Darth Vader breath. People will do it quite loudly to get started, like you're fogging a mirror, this kind of like, but then tone it down. We make it gentle, so we build a little bit of warmth in the throat, and we can hear that gentle ocean breeze in our ears. And I really think less is more, a gentle amount of resistance. We're not overdoing it. I will at random pull a card and then we will get moving. This card says, I am always the perfect age for where I am in life. Each age has its own special joys and experiences. I am at peace with my age. Let's get moving. From supine, we're drawing knees to chest, holding the back of our thighs, giving legs a hug, exploring comfortable movement here. Maybe that means rocking side to side or drawing a circle with the knees, a circle with both knees together. Or a circle, each knee gets its own circle. Yogi's choice. We can circle the ankles or the wrists, letting in any popping or cracking. Alternating knees to chest. So we're holding the back of one thigh, doesn't matter which, and extending the opposite leg. We can rest it on the mat or let it hover for more of a core power option. And then let's do something with our feet. We're either flexing or pointing, or what we sometimes call Barbie feet or flointing, where we point the ankle and flex the toes. Let's switch knees to chest. Holding behind one thigh, extending the opposite leg. We alternate back and forth, bringing some mobility to our hips, maybe feeling stretch in our glutes, strengthen our core, and we can keep that Ujjayi breath going, our gentle resistance breathing. Maybe instead of thinking of it as Darth Vader breath, it's like a napping Darth Vader, or we had Baby Yoda. Maybe it's a baby Darth Vader breath. I don't know. If we remember which side we started on, we'll do one more on the opposite side to keep it balanced. We're drawing both knees back through center. And to set up for our bridge flow, we're simply releasing our feet. Wherever they land is probably perfect. We might want to just double check, sneak a peek and see, do we have heels under knees? So everything is in line, knees in line with hips. Taking arms alongside our body to establish strength, really digging our triceps into the mat. Let's flow through our bridge. Inhaling as we're lifting hearts and hips to sky. Exhaling, we're lowering half an inch. We hover, that's our flow. If we want to add our arms, as our hips come down, arms come up overhead. As our hips lift up, we again press the back of the arms into the mat to engage upper back strength and help lift the hips. We'll give it a few more here. Feeling length through the back of the neck and the front of the body. And then we're lowering down. And to reset, maybe we like a long stretch or to windshield wipe our knees. No rush to get there, but we will meet in child's pose with our hands around at the front of the mat. So we're rolling to one side, walking hands around to the top of the mat, and then resting hips back into child's. And we know child's pose is our opportunity for rest. We can come back here or any other comfortable position for resting if we need it. Down dog is another, and I'll layer on one more in just a moment. But for now, let's start in all fours. We'll come to cat and cow, spreading fingers wide, pressing the tops of our feet down. Let's inhale to prepare, neutral spine, strong upper body. And with our exhale, making our spine the shape of a rainbow, pressing the earth away with the tops of our feet and the palms of our hands. On an inhale, lengthening our bellies, strong back muscles as we are looking forward in cow. We're flowing back and forth, matching breath to movement, saying good morning to our spines. Sometimes I like to picture that this one is like, you know, the Tin Woodsman asking for the oil can. I think cat and cow is like the oil can for our spines. Lubricating the joints of our spine, getting us ready for movement. And we are going to move into some kind of serious back bends today. So maybe paying special attention in our back, to our backs in our cat and cow to get us ready. All right, we'll come back through neutral. And we'll do a little bit of sunbird here. Not my favorite pose. We won't do too many. I find it really throws my back out. So I mention this for yourselves. You may find that some poses really do you in. So we kind of add our cat and cow to some leg movement, or we add leg movement to our cat and cow. So let's do a right leg lift. We're going to flex the right foot, kick it towards the sky. So these are like our hamstring leg curls. And then we're going to drive our knee forward towards the top of the mat. And that's our pattern, kicking up. We can add our cat crunch here and our cow as we lift. So the recommendation, if it does bother your back, is to do just the leg and squeeze the glute. And if you really like it, we can do quite a large range of motion, which I will obviously be skipping. Okay, let's come back through to neutral. We might want to circle the wrists, give them a little breather. And then we'll do our sunbird, sometimes called bird dog, lots of different options. It's a variation of our cat and cow with a little leg lift. Okay, so we've got strength through the back of the left leg. Sometimes this one can be really nice for the back because our left glute, our left butt cheek has to work. We inhale to prepare. And then as we exhale, we can actually point the foot as we draw the knee forward towards the space between our wrists. And then inhale as we kick up to the sky. So we get a little bit of an ankle mobilizer here. And if we love this one, yeah, we can do this really big cat and cow kind of movement. If we want to take it easy, we can, but noticing what works for each of us, right? So this one can be great for back pain because our glutes have to kick in to support the back. Last one here, and then we're resting back into child's. If our wrists need a break, we can always do child's with our palms flipped up instead. And we can stay here or we can prep our half series. So from extended child's, arms forward, but shoulders away from our ears, we're spreading our fingers wide, putting our body weight into our knuckle joints and our fingerprints. Inhaling as we're shifting our weight forward into our kneeling plank. Exhaling as we go through our push-up. Pressing back to child's, and we repeat. Feel it out in the shoulders. We're going to do power options today. Check out the shoulders. How are they feeling? Maybe we're ready to rock. We want to do some really deep push-ups here. Maybe we're feeling a bit more tentative in the shoulders, feeling out our range of motion, and that's okay too. So we exhale through the hardest part to draw our abs in the push-up phase, but our Ujjayi breath also helps with that. So we do our little resistance breathing. The muscles of the throat actually help our abs kick in. So if we do our Ujjayi with our kind of hard working poses, that can be, again, a little bit of an extra strength kind of oomph added to it. When we're ready to rest back, so we've got child's, palms up child's, we have downward facing dog, pedaling our heels out. And I will give the option today for dolphin. We don't always think of dolphin as a resting pose, but if we do like dolphin, our elbows still stay shoulder width apart, the same as in our down dog. And we can set up for it by going through our child's, interlacing our fingers, and then lifting up as we would in downward facing dog. Pressing into our elbows and our forearms so our head is off the mat. If you have Long arms, where your elbow is above the top of your head. This one will be easier for you. We might have to really push the forearms down, but we'll come back to this. It won't be our only opportunity for dolphin today. Walking into forward fold, we're making our way to mountain. We know we can bend our knees deeply. Maybe those hamstrings are a little cranky after sitting on Zoom. We'll loosen them up. Got a fair amount of hamstring work here today. Circle sweeping as we reverse our swan dive, coming in to mountain. Checking back in with our Ujjayi breathing. And then let's step back to face the long edge of our mat for sunflowers and moonflowers. Opening up and out into a 5-pointed star. We are inhaling, settling into moon, bending elbows and knees together. So this is our moon god flow. Let's see if I can pull another card to inspire us through this one. All is well in my world. Can we embody this feeling of all is well as we move through moonflowers? And if we would like to move into sunflowers, we can do that as well. So we're drawing a circle with our fingertips as we are shifting our hips back. For sun, if I show us from the side, yeah, we're kind of flying forward with a neutral spine. Avoiding practicing slouching here. Instead, we are practicing long spines hinging from our hips. We'll give it a couple more here, yogi's choice, either sunflowers or moonflowers. And then let's meet in our 5-pointed star, stretching up and out, inhaling here. And let's step to the top of our mats. We are ready for chair, and we'll add on to our chair flow. So probably done chair a million times. Shifting our hips down and back, just like we did with our sun. Got this great hip hinge in here. We should see a crease in the front of our leggings, shorts, pants, whatever we have. If we see a smooth shape, that means we need to shift our butts further back. Let's flow through chair. Inhaling up. We can be drawing hands through heart center. Maybe we like cactus arms. We know that cactus and hands at heart are a great way to give our shoulders a rest as we go through our poses. And I'll add on here. So we're going to come down into chair, any kind of chair we like. And then we'll add right arm lateral flexion at the top. So we're inhaling up, opening through the right side of the body. Exhaling down into chair. And then we take it to the other side. Inhaling up and open. Taking a seat. So our hips stay neutral as we come through our lateral flexion. Similar to our reverse warrior, our lower body is really stable as we are opening up through the upper body. So we could think of this maybe in the underarms or the rib cage, whatever makes sense for you. Last one here, sitting down and back into chair and then coming into mountain. If we're not already there, we'll step to the top of our mats. We'll need space to move back because we're moving into our sun salutations. I'll lead us through one and then give you time on your own because we're probably more familiar by now. Inhaling, we're swooping arms to sky, just tapping our palms, exhaling, swan diving forward. Let's take the right foot back and we can start with a kneeling lunge for today. Taking our front hands to our left thigh. Inhaling, we lengthen our spines. And then exhaling, making our way back. Usually we start in child's, right? We start with our modified round of sun salutations, spreading fingers wide. Inhaling as we're coming forward, we can use our ujjayi and our abdominal strength as we lower all the way down. And then our back strength as we're inhaling, lifting up into cobra. Pressing up and back, pull from the belly, child's pose. And we'll take the right foot forward to the top of the mat for our kneeling lunge. Hands to front thigh, we can really press down to grow the crown of the head up to the clouds. Our next exhale steps us forward, forward fold, reversing our swan dive and sitting down and back into chair. All right, I'll leave us on our own. Let's do our favorite variation of our sun salutations while we're here. Stepping back with the left foot this time. Making this your own perfect practice here. Matching breath to movement, finding strength in movement, and can we also find a relaxation as we move through? I'm going to pull another affirmation for us. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I trust in the process of life. There is a rhythm and flow to life, and I am part of it. Life supports me and brings me only good and positive experiences. I trust the process of life to bring me my highest good. I trust the process of life. We can hold on to that affirmation as we flow through our sun salutations here. So we can choose to rest, we can choose to flow, we can choose to build lots of heat, or maybe make this a more quiet or meditative practice. One other thing we can start to work with are any other variations of your sun salutations that you know. So it's not just that our basic sun salutation is like the be all end all. Maybe one of us out there has a practice where we like to add hopping or twisting. Please feel free to throw in your own favorite way to sun salutations. Looking good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to finish up whatever round you're working on. I'll give us another minute here. And no rush to be the first, no pressure. If you are the last, when we get up to the top of the mat, we'll just come back to circle sweeping our arms. Checking back in with how we're feeling. And we can add a cactus flowing chest expansion as well, opening wide to our cactus arms, exhaling hands to heart, having a little mindful pause while we all collect at the top of our mats. I think we're there. Okay, we'll bring hands to hips. We'll step our feet together. And instead of sitting into a chair, let's sit into just a bar stool, all right? We still sit up tall when we're at the bar, right? So no slouching or something. We're still hip hinging backwards. And then we'll add a challenge. So we're gonna add our rotation, but we're gonna make sure that our knees aren't going one in front of the other like some kind of funky dance, okay? So we're gonna glue our knees together. We're gonna engage our inner thighs to squeeze. Let's take right hand across to left thigh, and we'll start to slice and twist. And we're just gonna keep an eye on those pesky knees to make sure that they stay together. Let's come back through center, we'll reset. We'll take it the other side, sitting down into our bar stool, slice across, we turn and twist. Sneak a peek, make sure those knees aren't shifting, right? Because we don't want to have one hip forward and one hip back, kind of this wonky, I don't know what's going on. We're challenging our proprioception. I'll show us one other way we can do it, and then we'll do it a little more deeply. So we could also sit into our bar stool and take our hands to our ribs or sort of the sides of the waist and turn, make sure our abs are working, right? Do we want to shift our hips, or do we want to have a nice strong core? And usually that can lodge in our minds like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm working my core. Okay, come back through center. One more time, we sit into our bar stool. We turn and twist from our belly, our ribs. We could even take fingertips to shoulders as another way to give us that feedback from our bodies. And if we want to go deeper, make it bigger, we can. Inhaling up and then exhaling down into our twisted chair. Inhaling up. Opposite hand can maybe come to the low back as another landing point. Okay, I'm going to challenge us one more time. We're doing lots of chairs and twisting chairs today. Okay, so we'll take the right hand across. We could go quite low, really sliding and slicing. And here's our challenge. We're going to tap right toes back. We'll step forward and let's reset for the other side. Here we go. Twisting, slicing, sliding down, maintaining our spine alignment, maintaining our knees are neutral. If we want to get deep, we can, but we don't have to. Let's tap left toes back. So that's our twisted lunge. And then we're coming back through center. Let's reset, inhaling up, exhaling hands to heart. And we're going to make our way down to down dog or child's. Option to rest, option to flow. And again, we may like our dolphin instead. So we could go from child's, drop our forearms, interlace our fingers, and lift into dolphin as an option for a resting pose. Usually we throw this in if there's any wrist pain, but it might be less comfortable if there's any shoulder pain. So if we're protecting our wrists today, dolphin can be a great option. Moving into our twisting lunge again. So from down dog or child's, if we're in down dog, we're lifting the right leg to create space, stepping our right foot between our hands. We're dropping our back knee for a kneeling lunge. We're taking right hand to right knee, and then let's turn the center of the chest towards our front knee. So sometimes my students go a little bit backwards, so I like to take hand to knee and then say turn the chest to the front leg. Pressing down with the left hand. Our right hand is free. Let's draw a couple circles here. Loosening up the right shoulder. Let's take this hand down to frame our front foot. We're stepping back, down dog or child's, a moment of rest to reset for the other side. If we would like to flow through our half series, of course, by all means, we can keep building that upper body fire. All right. Left foot forward. We can lift the left leg from down dog to create extra space. Press down. We need a big hole underneath us to sweep that leg through. Might help, of course, to use our left hand to bring it on up. Our back knee is coming down. Front hand to front knee. Press down with both hands to help elongate our spines. And we're turning heart to knee. If we're okay while we're here, our left hand is free. And we're drawing some big juicy circles here. Taking hands down to frame our front foot. Yogi's choice. As we step back, we rest or flow through our half series here. Now, if we have a yoga block or a strap, let's put it at the top of the mat because we're going to move into our warrior series. That's took me a second to remember what that's called. We're going to move into our warrior series here. So if you like to have a block under your hand or a strap for chest expansion, we'll just put it at the top of the mat so it's there. I will demonstrate with my bottle and my sweater. Okay, what's our affirmation for our warrior series? I am lovable because I exist. Others reflect the love I have for myself. Let's love ourselves as we move through our warrior series here. From downward facing dog, we're lifting right to create space, stepping our right foot between our hands, planting back foot down flat on an angle. Let's make sure that that outer edge of our back foot is glued down to the mat and not peeling up. Coming into chest expansion here, we can bring our strap with us. If we don't have a strap, we use whatever we have, right? Taking hands behind our backs, punching our hands down and pulling our hands away from one another for chest expansion in Warrior One. This can be a nice one too, to set our alignment in our warriors, because if we're sort of flopping forward or in some weird alignment, having the strap against our bums can help us be in the right spot. Same thing goes for as we open to warrior two. So we're going to open to the long edge of the mat, toe heel our back foot further back, still our strong knee over ankle alignment. And often in warrior one, people are kind of turned and twisted to the front of the room in an effort to see the teacher, which makes sense. But again, if we really punch down and pull the hands out, we're having the strap straight behind our backs can help us square our shoulders and hips to the long edge of the mat. Side angle pose here. So we'll keep one hand on our strap, front arm to front thigh. If we would like to bind, we can reach under our front leg to grab that strap in behind us. So our left arm is in behind the back. Our right hand is underneath our front thigh. To turn our bound side angle into our bound triangle, we straighten the front leg. So again, the longer our arms are, the easier it is, and a strap can accommodate and to help us still be tall and lifted, strong in our triangle. If we had no strap, we would just approximate it. So our top arm can be draped behind our backs, and we can have our front hand on our props or our leg as necessary. We'll drop our strap, walk our hands to the top edge of the mat, stepping back, yogi's choice. We rest or flow through our favorite half series variation. Okay, so you see it from the back this time. From downward facing dog, we're lifting left leg to create space, stepping left foot between our hands, planting back foot down. We can readjust our block since our hands are at the top of the mat, or our strap if we're bringing it with us, and we're adding chest expansion to our warrior one. So we can hold our strap a little bit wider than hip width apart. We punch down, we draw the hands away from one another. And actually, if we interlace, the smaller muscles of our pecs kind of rotate inward, whereas if our palms are forward, it's lengthened, which is kind of nice. So we can turn palms forward in our chest expansion, keeping hearts high, breath full, opening to our warrior two, toe heeling our back foot further back. Especially if we want to get deep in these poses, we need a lot of space between our front and back foot. Holding in warrior two, we are keeping our strong warrior two base as we move into side angle. So right hand is going to hold our strap, front arm to front thigh, side angle pose here. We're keeping our right arm draped behind the back. So if we had no strap, we can still be draping in behind, and it's a really nice way to open the right shoulder without overdoing it in terms of intensity. Now, if we do want to bind, left hand under left thigh, we're holding our strap, or maybe we're interlacing hands together. We'll have a second shot at this with no strap in a second. So maybe we'll be more warm by the time that comes around. Turning it into bound triangle, we're straightening our front leg. Lots of core work here to keep us up, tall and lifted. That bind helps us rotate so that we are square to the long edge of the mat instead of flopping down to the mat. Okay, let's put our strap out of the way. Hands to frame the front foot. We're stepping back, down dog or child's, rest or flow. If we've forgotten all about our Ujjayi breath, we can bring it back in here. Exhaling to draw our core muscles in at the toughest part of the push-up. From downward facing dog, lifting the right leg, stepping right foot between our hands. Let's spiral open to warrior two. Spreading fingers, spreading toes. Sometimes it takes us a second to get in here. Let's flow, side angle and reverse warrior. So front hand to front thigh, stretching long to side angle. And then reversing warrior, back hand to back thigh, adding our lateral flexion, just like we did in our warm-up. We have our strong warrior two base, stays exactly where it is. We're just opening the right side of the ribs. Inhale to reach. Exhale, extending long in side angle. That's our flow. Go a couple more. Folding side angle. If we would like extended side angle, we can take right fingertips down to the inside of the right foot or shin, and we can push to help us rotate open. If we want to get low, bring our butts with us. If we want to bind, we can either do our half bind, draping our right hand towards, or draping our left hand towards our right back pocket. If we want to bind under the leg, we can. And it should add dynamic tension to clasp and twist open. So we could use our strap, we could grab our clothes, we can simply grab our pants and our shirt to help us with that bind. Lots of options. Let's take a break. We will walk our hands to the long edge of the mat. Wide-legged forward fold here. Deep breath in, long breath out. Making our way to the second side, we're going to rotate to the back edge of the mat and spiral open into warrior two. Shoulders over hips, hands over feet. Taking our feet wide enough to accommodate as we drop into side angle, our spines stay straight. So front arm or front hand to front thigh. Reach tall. Let's check back in with our core. It's a lot of core activity here to keep the spine neutral and not flopping. We inhale in lateral flexion, and we're exhaling in side angle. Long diagonal line from our fingertips to our back heel. Let's hold in side angle. We can stay as we are or drop low into extended side angle. We can half bind, taking right hand to our left back pocket. We can reach left hand under left leg. We can clasp and use this clasp to help us rotate open. If we can't reach, if our hands are just like so far apart, we can let our hand drape. We can take hand to hip. Maybe our underneath hand is going to grab our pant leg. Maybe we can hold something there. Maybe our top hand can hold our shirt. Anything to help give us that dynamic tension and a little bit more torque as we're here. Both hands down, wide-legged forward fold, all 10 toes point to the long edge of the mat. Let's give ourselves an affirmation. I am open and receptive to new avenues of income. Walking hands to the short edge of the mat. We're stepping back, yogi's choice. We rest or flow. Down dog, child's, maybe more of like a road cyclist. We could be halfway between child's and like a forearm plank. Just whatever's most comfortable to give us a moment of pause. Okay, one of my personal favorites. Let's walk forward to the top of the mat. Forward fold. We can give our heads a gentle shake. Deep bend in our knees, resting our body on the body, feeling the body with the body. So as we breathe in, our belly presses into our thighs, and that can give us kind of a nice feedback loop of awareness. If we tend to get dizzy from all this forward folding, then we can take our time coming up to standing, coming up through monkey first, pressing hands on shins or thighs. We let our blood pressure equalize halfway up, like a deadlift, super strong through the back line of the body. And then we're coming up all the way to mountain. We can reset, circle sweep arms to sky, hands to heart center. Pyramid pose. We're stepping back with our right foot, short stance, warrior one. So with our long warrior one, our hips twist open a bit. This is why it's a contraindication for prenatal yoga. It's a little bit of twist on the pelvis. Our short stance, we have to bring our right foot in close enough that all 10 toes are pointing forward. Often that means we take the feet hip width apart, just like our chair, instead of having heel behind heel, like a fist width between our heels. Okay, everything is straightforward. Let's take right hand across to left thigh. We've done this before with our twisting chair. Let's twist our pyramid And this will turn it in to twisting triangle. So our front knee can be bent or straight. We can have hand to hip or low back or draped in behind like we already did. We can use our block at the top of the mat if we want. We could be straightening our front leg, pressing our hand down wherever it lands. So our right hand could be on the shin or the floor or the thigh, but again, press to create stability. Coming back through neutral, like we're getting ready to start a race, let's bend both knees so we can take our hands to the top edge of the mat, making our way into standing splits. Lots of strength for that right glute cheek to lift up into standing splits. So just like our warrior one, our standing splits, the hip is a bit open. If we're totally square, that's more of like a warrior three leg, we can open the hip here as we lift up. Not quite as much as our half moon balance, but we look like the splits, right? We're lifting up. We're picturing it, even if we know that back leg is barely lifting. Let's have a moment where we can trust ourselves. Super strong, lots of balance. We're stepping way back into lunge. Option for prayer lunge here. So we could do that same lunge that we did earlier, front hand to front thigh, or we can be taking our right hand, right elbow to our left thigh, bringing hands to prayer. Lots of rotation here. So I hope our rotation and our lower body strength are warm enough for this at this moment. If we're feeling a little bit tuckered out, yeah, we could take our right hand down. Okay, let's see if we can do one more breath here. And we're taking our hands to the top of the mat, stepping forward, forward fold. Again, we can do a deep bend with our knees, feeling the body with the body. Option 4, let's do gorilla. So we take our hands and put the palm of the hand to the sole of the foot. So a deeper forward fold, hands under feet. We get a bit of a wrist stretch here, which is kind of nice. And then we can be pulling ourselves further into our forward fold, but let's leave the neck relaxed. So the back of the neck is smooth. And if we don't like this, we could be quite bent in the knees and taking the backs of the hands to the mat as an option. Okay, let's come up through monkey. Resetting, equalizing, blood pressure stuff. We'll come all the way up as we're ready. Okay, and we'll take some time to set up for the second side since we took a while on the first side, right? So this time we're stepping back left into our short stance pyramid. And you may notice I do like to turn and reorient myself depending on what I'm doing with my students. So everybody's facing me in pyramid. So I'm okay with facing you. I'm okay with mirror teaching. It's a personal choice. We know pyramid. All 10 toes are pointed forward. Let's take right hand to right hip. Left hand reaches up. We're tall. Okay, we're staying present. We know a whole bunch of pretzeling is coming, but let's just stay where we are. Hand across to opposite thigh. Pull from the belly. Rib cage turns to the side wall. Hinging forward as we're making our way into twisted pyramid, which becomes our twisted triangle. Front leg could stay bent, especially if we're up high. If we like to go lower, yeah, we can. Maybe we're using a block or hand to shin or thigh. If we like that half bind option to drape behind, we could. Or maybe we feel like we need some more landmarking. We can take our right fingertips to our right shoulder to remind us that we are twisting from the upper body and the rib cage. Can we breathe? We could use our ujjayi one more time to help us stay locked in. And then let's take our hands down to frame our front foot. A moment of flight in our standing splits. Lots of strength through the back of both legs as we lift and lighten the left leg into standing splits. What is one of the most common things we hear in a yoga class? My hamstrings are so tight. How would this pose be different if we said to ourselves, my hamstrings are loosening and lengthening? I'm giving myself a challenge I can handle. Okay, we're gonna throw stability back into this bendy challenge, stepping way back into lunge. Option for twisting prayer lunge, taking left elbow to the outside of our right thigh, bringing hands to prayer, and then rotating so that hands are at heart center. Might have to take a little look at that front knee, making sure that we haven't pushed it out of alignment with the strength of the upper body. Thinking long lines, okay? Back heel presses down, crown of the head reaches forward, shoulders away from the ears, elbows are lifted. Lots of different movements going on here. We've earned a rest. Let's take hands down to frame the front foot. We're stepping back. Yogi's choice, we rest or flow. And if we do love dolphin, as we interlace our fingers, we're just gonna tuck the bottom pinky in so we're not crushing it with the rest of our hands. Okay, so I did mention in our 3-mountain format, that is like the peak of our mountain. We got to come down a little bit before we cool down. It's going to be our slow descent. Stepping forward or even hopping forward into forward fold, landing light as a feather, creating the sound of silence as we land. Our big toe yogi hold. So we're taking our peace fingers, keeping it on a positive note. We are taking our first 2 fingers underneath our big toe, and we're capping that off with our thumb. This is actually a great one to develop strength in the underside of the foot. But before we get too tied up with our hands, can we check in with our breathing? Are we breathing? Okay. Is our spine pretty neutral? Maybe we need to bend the knees more, resting belly on thighs. If we would like to go deeper into our big toe hold, we can have the elbows come out wide. Let the head gently relax. We can nod our heads yes. If we like that feeling of giving ourselves a little oomph in our hamstring stretch, yeah, we can continue pulling down. But we're working the muscles of our feet, pressing the big toe into our fingers. So we have dynamic tension. As much as we are pulling, we are also pressing. When we're ready, we're making our way into monkey, coming on up, re-engaging the strength in the back of the legs. This is why yoga is so tough, because we've just stretched everything out and then we're telling those same muscles, hang on a second, tighten up again. Keep working. We'll turn this into airplane pose. So let's take hands up to thighs. And then we're extending arms alongside ourselves, like a second and third spine. It's a straight arm tricep lift. If anybody does training with dumbbells, it's the same idea. So at the top of a tricep kickback, or if we do a straight arm tricep pull, that's the movement that we're going for. We are in airplane. Let's shift our weight to our right foot for warrior 3. We are unweighting our left foot, just like we did with our standing splits, but this time our hips stay square. If our left toes are landed, fantastic. If our left toes are lifted, also fantastic. We're making our bodies the shape of the letter T. We can bring fingertips again to shoulders. We can bring arms to T. We can reach arms overhead. Smooth and controlled. Let's bring ourselves up to standing. We can roll our shoulders. We can circle sweep to reset. Second side. Let's start from our forward fold, since that's how we set it up on the first side. Coming up through monkey. Coming up a bit higher, core and glutes like our deadlift, extending back for airplane. So it's sort of like, I've heard this called half chair as well. Instead of sitting in a chair or being in monkey, you're sort of halfway between chair and monkey. I lift weights, I always think of it as a deadlift. We're airplaning and flying the wings back, getting ready for a warrior 3. So if we tap back in warrior 3, maybe we're not so low here. If we really like to lift high in warrior 3, we can get a little bit lower, shifting our weight to our left. We are unweighting our right. We'll probably see the ankle doing that funky thing it does. That's okay. Our body weight's probably recorrecting to the outside of the left foot. Let's flex both feet. So we're pressing down through the pinky toe and the big toe of our front foot. And then our arms, finding a comfortable arm position, whatever that means for all of us. If our nose is pecking the ground, let's pull it away, smoothing out the back of the neck. To reset, we're coming to standing, letting it go. Let's give it a few chest expansion here. Inhaling open, exhaling to close. We could give ourselves a few belly breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Maybe we still love our ujjayi the whole way through. Another, I am at peace. The point of power is always in the present moment. Making our way to eagle pose. So let's start from strong mountain base. We'll take one knee up and over the other. So for today, let's start with the right leg up and over. We can cross the ankles. So with my older participants, my deconditioned participants, we just cross the ankle, right? Makes sense. We still have both feet on the floor. We're tall. Otherwise, if we want to kind of sit back into a little bit of a chair pose, some of us may be able to wrap the floated foot behind, but ideally we still stay square to the front of the mat as we go. Okay. There's some confusion between the top knee and the right arm, whatever we're going with. So, okay, if it's the right knee on top, let's take the right hand to the opposite shoulder. And then we're sweeping into our eagle arms. We could give ourselves a hug. Probably actually my favorite is to do this old gym class stretch. Maybe both elbows are up, maybe we bind. Again, one of these poses that's so much easier if we just have long arms. We can make it dramatic. Let's fly out of our eagle pose. And then we land on our mats. Okay, other side. Our card says, I trust my inner wisdom. Stacking knee over knee, squeezing the inner thighs. Noticing our breathing slowing down, that's fantastic. Whichever knee is on top. Opposite arm can come across, stretching the back of the shoulder, or it can just come across, the opposite arm can sweep under. We can be hugging, we can be lifting the elbows, we can take the back of the hands together, or we can bring it around and bind with our hands directly in front of our noses, the center of our face. Very pretzel-y. I hope we like this one. We can make it dramatic as we come out of our eagle pose. Full breath in, let's fly. You got it. Okay, grab a drink if you would like. We're gonna make our way down to the mat. Again, a moment of pause, right? We work and rest. The pendulum swings to work and then it swings back to rest. Child, down dog, maybe coming forward like a road cyclist, or tucking toes, lifting up into dolphin. If we want a little more heat, this is usually where we throw in dolphin, shifting forward to plank, and then back. So if we love that heat, now's your chance. If we love to rest, now's your chance. Our card, I express my creativity. My unique and creative talents and abilities flow through me and are expressed in deeply satisfying ways. I express my creativity. Let's come down to lie on our bellies. Option here for locust with chest expansion. So one I forget too often, sometimes we can't lie on our bellies. Instead of locust, we could be in tabletop with one leg extended at a time. Okay, so if anybody has prenatal or other, I don't know, you ate a big meal, any reason you don't want to lie on your stomach, you could be in tabletop. If we love locust, we're lying on our bellies, pressing evenly through the bones in the front of the hips and the pubic bone, lifting just like cobra. And if we like, we can add our lower body lift as well, pressing the soles of the feet together. If we want to add our chest expansion, we can use our strap. Palms towards the floor, a little bit wider than hip width apart, drawing hands away from one another as we're punching our fists towards our heels. And this strap can help us to lift higher, really punching down and back. When we're ready, lowering down, we can windshield wipe our legs. Feeling into our back muscles, sensing how pliable we feel today, because I will give us the option for wheel. So if our backs feel tender, we can just stay in bridge. And then when we're ready, let's press up and back. Maybe rounding our backs a little in cat to feel that we are readjusting and balancing. And then we'll make our way into staff for some seated postures. Oh, I missed one. We got to make our way into splits. Thought something felt unfinished. Okay, if we are seated, we're sitting into one hip, swinging our legs behind. I've let us down, your fearless leader. Okay, from down dog or child's, let's step our front foot, our right foot between our hands. So we right foot forward. Okay, we loosened up our hamstrings a lot. Let's see how we do with forward split. Now, the manual says forward split. We're going to get into it flowing through kneeling lunge and half split. This is probably one of my favorites to do. Normally, if I forget a pose, I'm like, whatever, that's fine. I'll get it in my next lifetime. But this is one of my favorites. Okay, so we can have our blocks under our hands as we're shifting front and back, loosening up our hip flexor and our hamstring. So we're making our way to front splits. We can stay in half splits if we like. So we're shifting our weight back into our half split position. If it's uncomfortable for the kneecap, we can double our mat. We can do whatever we need to do. If we can take ourselves down, hands on either side of our lower leg, we can stay here for our half split. If we want to do our front splits, and take a little bit of core strength to shift our weight forward as we lift our front leg. That's actually kind of a good thing. As we lift the front leg, our quads engage, which helps our hamstrings disengage. Now, ideally, our hips are still square like our pyramid. So instead of sitting onto just the right butt cheek, we need to have the left hip flexor pulling forward so our hips are square, right? Instead of being like warrior 1 or 2, we're open. Front foot can be pointed or flexed. Again, we got to use our core and our quads to pull us like back and in. Using that ujjayi. And then we're back into child's or downward facing dog. Let's see how we do on the other side. Okay, down dog or child's. Left foot comes between our hands. Shifting front and back. This is a good way too to tap in with our own inner nature, right? Some people are like the hummingbirds of life. Nobody I know. And then some people got that like sloth vibe. I always seem to make friends with people who have this sort of like elephant feel to them. Powerful, but don't rush. So what kind of like animal do you think you are channeling with your own speed of life? Maybe you're like a jaguar, you just kind of wait in the shadows until you're ready. Maybe you're, the tortoise instead of the hare. So feel free to flow through this at a speed that fits for you. So we know where we're going. but let's enjoy the present moment while it lasts. And then as we're ready, shifting back into our half split. We can have our hands on our thigh. Just careful not to lock out, right? We don't want to lock out or put our hands on the kneecap. We can have our hands on blocks or the floor. If we get stiff while we're here, we can readjust, shifting front and back again. It's not the only hamstring stretch that's ever been invented. There will be more. Okay, we got to use quads, hip flexors, abs to lift and shift. It is much easier if you are wearing socks on a wood floor in a studio. Lots of strength, even just to hold. Front foot can be pointed or flexed. And yes, sometimes you'll see people take a block underneath one butt cheek to hold themselves here in this square position. Okay, if we love our front splits, we can stay a little longer. We feel like we need to come out early. Of course, we're listening to our body when it whispers, so we don't have to panic when it screams. Come on out. We use our strength, pull it back. Sometimes our quads start to seize up a little bit, so it might actually be nice to sit back on the heels to give our quads a little breather. And now we will finally move to staff. So as we're ready to come out of our split and move into staff, might really want to windshield wipe the legs or butterfly the legs. Shake the legs out. Maybe even give the quads a little massage. Not everybody, but sometimes there'll be someone that really feels like they got a rock in their quads after that. Okay, strong staff pose. We know our big toe hold, right? So we've got our peace fingers from each side, applying even pressure. So yes, our fingers are going to pull, but our big toe is going to push. And that equal and opposite pressure is going to help us engage and lift, okay? So, boat. Here we go. We're sitting tall. We can do our baby boat or whatever we want to call it. We can be safe in a cove. We do not have to go out into the sea, but if we want to go into maybe more stormy waters, here we go. We're reaching through, equal and even pressure, tapping off the toe with our thumbs. We press away with our toes and our feet. We pull down with the strength of our hands and our shoulders and upper back. So this is our wide toe hold. And often the wide toe is actually, wide boat is easier for some people because their inner thighs are limber, but their hamstrings are a little bit limited. That might be you. When we're ready to release, let's let the feet come on down. Again, we might want to do a little flap in our butterfly knees. And let's rest in single leg hamstring stretch. So we're drawing our right butterfly in and extending our left leg out into our hamstring stretch. We always begin with that tall sit, right? Do we want to fold the mat underneath our bums? We could. So we'll be here for 5 to 10 breaths on each side, right? As we're ready, coming forward. Keeping in mind, this is like our 500th hamstring stretch of the day, which might mean it is the one that feels the absolute best. Or it might mean that you're like, you know what? I'm just going to have a mindful pause and sit tall. I'm working on my posture. Okay. Both options are good, right? But I would love to see if it feels good to add our sinking breath. Full breath in. Exhale, feeling that we're getting heavy. Shoulders are heavy away from the ears. Body is heavy, resting into the mat. The exhale may help us sink deeper. It doesn't have to. Our affirmation is, I am safe. It's only change. Using our core to come up straight. Let's do a little funky here. We're going to plant our right foot, our poor left leg. We just stretched it, and now we're going to tell it to work hard. Let's take our hands in behind us for incline plank. Our fingers are pointing forward. We're pressing down to lift up. We can lift our pelvis as well. We're pressing the left heel down, engaging that whole back line of the leg, and then our right foot, spreading our toes, pushing the whole right foot down. We're lowering down. We've got two sides, don't we? From staff. Drawing our left ankle in, a comfortable landing point, right? So it doesn't have to be all the way in. If we take two fingers and pull it and it doesn't want to go any further, we don't need to take the whole hand and yank it. Option to sit tall, have a quiet moment. Option to lengthen and fold way forward. If it feels like a nice release, yeah, we can let ourselves come forward, little lift on the inhale, sinking deeper on the exhale. But yoga is not the boundless pursuit of endless flexibility, right? More is not necessarily better. Every thought I think is creating my future. How are we communicating with ourselves in our forward fold? Are we saying, God, my back really hurts? Or are we saying to ourselves, I'm taking this moment to take care of my back? Inclined plank or a variation of tabletop. We're planting the left foot. We're taking our hands down on either side of our glutes or a little bit further back. Fingers can point forward or out, just not around to the back edge of the mat. Press down through the heel of the right foot. Lift up, spreading our left toes, pressing down through the entire sole of the left foot. Careful not to lock out those elbows or shrug our shoulders. So if we notice we're dumping and shrugging, we can come out, readjust, and then lift strong. Maybe we've gone too far. Maybe that is why our alignment is going out of whack. Our range of motion maybe is too big. So the other version, of course, is just to sit, press, and lift. Let's do one more round of breath. And then we can release. We're in good shape. Okay. We will make our way down to lie on our backs. Readjusting ourselves, letting some intuitive movement in. If we need socks or a sweater or a drink, of course, now is our chance. Okay, so we got our big ta-da at the end of class. Let's start with hand to big toe. So from knees to chest, if we would like, we can make our way into constructive rest. And a way to add a bit of stability is to keep the left leg bent, although this pose is usually done with our left leg straight. And we're going to add some intensity in the left leg. Instead of it just flopping around, let's press the left heel down, pointing our left toes up, drawing our right leg in, and this might be enough for us. Maybe just single leg to chest is good. Maybe we like our big toe hold again. We're getting good at it now. Even and equal, but opposite pressure. So I'm pulling down and I'm pushing away. Big toe hold. Our left hand can be on our left hip flexor to be more aware of what's going on there. And we can let our right leg open out into more of an inner thigh variation of our hamstring stretch. As we let our right foot come open, often we turn the head to face the left side. We've got to use some core strength when we come back up. So we've lengthened out our inner thigh. It's also going to have to kick back in. Let's enjoy the moment while it lasts. Let's take a breath in. And as we exhale, strong through our inner thigh and our abs, we come on up, we reset, other side. We can plant our right leg or stretch it out long. Left knee to chest. Our peace fingers, being peaceful, feeling peaceful. Tapping it off with our thumb, applying equal yet opposite pressure. This is our dynamic tension. Pulling down from the shoulder girdle, kicking away from the hip and the big toe. We open to the side. Our right hand can be on hip, or maybe we are opening into a half T with our right hand, turning to face the right side. I say out to every negative thought that comes into my mind. I turn those thoughts out. I say in to every positive thought that enters my mind. I bring those thoughts in. We're releasing, we're letting go, we're coming back through center, reset as necessary. From knees to chest, we're letting our feet go. This will be our option for wheel pose. If we're not in wheel today, we can be lifting into our regular bridge. Maybe we're interlacing in behind the back, walking our hands underneath our shoulders, lengthening at the back of the neck. If we interlace, tucking our bottom pinky inside the palm so that we are applying even weight to both pinky fingers underneath our backs. We could also hold the outer edges of the mat and pull away, just like we did with our strap. Dynamic tension through our use of props. If we love wheel, okay, we gotta sneak our heels in from constructive rest. We start tight and then we open big. Our palms are flat with our fingertips touching our shoulders. And there's really only one way to do it. We push down and lift up, making our bodies a rainbow, or maybe picturing ourselves as a bridge with a little tugboat underneath us. Our necks are relaxed. We should be able to breathe. And no, we do not put our body weight on the top of the head at any point during this pose. There is a variation, don't tell anyone I told you this, where we walk the feet out further and it's done with straight legs. It's just not in the manual. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not in there. Okay, we have to tuck our chins and land on our upper back, not our heads. And then we go, oh, probably. It can be tough to get a full breath in when we're in that deep back bend because so much of our lung capacity is in our backs. When we rely on just our chests, we can't get a full breath. They say it's 60% of our lung capacity in our back and 40% in the front. We're going to come through sort of a different variation of bridge for shoulder stand and plow, and then we're done. Okay. So we're setting up for bridge again. If we love bridge, we could be in bridge. If we're just ready to hang out, we can just hang out. But if we're ready for quite a nice back line stretch, here we go. So we lift up into bridge. We will walk our shoulder blades under our backs. We take our hands under the sacrum, so underneath the pelvis. We need to have very little weight on the head and the neck. So if you're like super scrunched up, there's a lot of weight on the head and the neck. I would say just have hands under the glutes, working on pressing the butt to the sky with the knees still in hip distance alignment, okay? If we want to make our way into supported shoulder stand, we're bringing one knee in, just like our sunbird we started with, or a single leg to chest. We can kick one heel to the sky, and that usually helps counterweight, so it's easier to lift the second leg. If we're taking this into plow, we are very gently letting our toes land on the mat behind us, and we're supporting our backs with our hands.
If we feel crunched, squished, we can't breathe, baby plow is not our favorite pose. We could do a seated forward fold instead to get a very similar option. Now, some people love plow. Feel free to stay a few more rounds of breath, but when we're ready to come out, super strong through the upper back, pressing our triceps down into the mat. We're gonna walk one leg up, the weight of one leg coming forward, sort of pinwheeling, I don't know what else to call it. So as I'm taking my left foot towards the mat, gravity is helping me or counterbalancing me so that my right leg unweights. I catch myself left, I catch myself right, and then I come back through center. So if I lift one leg first, it gently draws and balances the second leg, come through second. Okay, checking back in, resetting, whatever we feel we need to do here, letting some intuitive movement into our bodies. And then option to finish with supported fish. So this is one of my favorites. And I always think if we've done a lot of forward folding, which is a common request from students, we don't want to get stuck forward folded, right? We want to walk out of yoga feeling taller. And one way to do that is with our supported fish. So you can roll your mat up. We can use a second mat, or you can use anything you have around the house. So I'll show us with this couch cushion as well. So fish is done, it's a back bend. Not that different from our seated back bend that we did earlier, but we're going to support ourselves so that our muscles can finally release. We're taking our mat, how well can you see this? If I go here. We're taking our mat not quite to touch our butts behind us, give a little bit of space so that our pelvis can kind of land on the mat, and then the mat supports our spine and definitely the head. So it leaves us in a passive, restful chest expansion. The smaller your prop is, the more gentle and subtle that chest expansion may be, which might actually be better. So it doesn't mean that a bigger movement is better. Sometimes a smaller mat means that the muscles relax and release better. If all we have is a cushion, we put it underneath our backs. We can do it in a diamond shape or a square shape underneath the back. And I think really let it catch the rib cage so that it pops us up into our back bend. The one big thing that we're avoiding is having our head, you know, like Pez candy. We don't want it to be like a Pez dispenser. So the head should be supported. The back of the neck is still smooth. So some people prefer to have a cushion underneath the mat so the head can be lifted. Really don't overthink it. If we just want to lie flat on the mat, even just lying flat is like a gentle chest expansion for most of us. Okay, we're in our final relaxation. We made it. We did it. Let's pull another affirmation. I release all criticism. I only give out that which I wish to receive in return. My love and acceptance of others is a mirror of my love and acceptance for myself. I think that's a great one to transition into our heart opening pose, breathing awareness into our heart space here, feeling expansion of the chest with our inhale, feeling supported with our exhale. Bringing our minds back to the affirmation that we set at the very beginning of class. Repeating it in a positive, simple sentence, ideally present tense. Seeing it in our minds in detail and full color, feeling it in our hearts and bodies. And we know we always have the option to choose a new sentence, a new intention, if the old one just isn't doing it for us anymore. Silently repeating our affirmation, beginning to see and feel the energy we are creating. Every thought we have is part of a process whereby we create our reality and our experiences in the world. We can train our minds to focus our thoughts and energy on what we desire to bring into our lives. We can be grateful for the ability to create good in our lives and in the world. Using the power of gratitude to acknowledge what we have and make room for what is yet to come, appreciating every new thing as it comes. Our thoughts are vibrations of energy, like ripples in a pond, radiating out and affecting the world around us. We can say to ourselves, I am choosing to send out positive vibrations. See your positive vibrations radiating out and touching those around you. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Choose your words, for they become actions. Understand your actions, for they become habits. Study your habits, for they will become your character. Develop your character, for it becomes your destiny. No need to get up. We'll take another 15-minute break. I'll put the time in the chat. So please stay exactly as we are, but we can bring hands over our hearts to close together, or hands to heart center. You can stay lying supine. I am grateful that our paths have crossed to bring us together today, to rewire our thoughts, to appreciate our bodies. Thank you so much for being here today and bringing your energy into the group. From my light to yours, namaste.